Hello, welcome. Episode 17 of A Few Good Mics. Also happens to be Thrones Day. So I had a good time celebrating that, watching episode 1 of season 7. But now, I'm joined by the usual crew back. Instead of just me and Nate, it's the full four-man crew. You guys glad to be back or what?
Hey, well, it's good to be back.
Yeah, I'm happy to kind of be back again. You guys kept saying you'd send me invites and messages. I don't know where those went.
Yeah, well, you got to upgrade your stuff, dude.
Yeah, you gotta upgrade from Verizon to Sprint. That's your problem.
Yeah, you're right. I'll just stick with my U.S. Cellular.
Oh, awkward.
So, might as well get started with this, the most pressing, football story of the week, right? Jimbo Fisher says the ACC is the best conference in college football. So, Nate, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the ACC is a little deeper than the SEC, but I think because Alabama's been a powerhouse for so long that everyone thinks when they think SEC, they think Alabama. Whereas, you think about it, you have in the ACC, you have Clemson, you have Louisville. They've been good lately.
Did you say that the ACC is deeper?
I think it's deeper as far as teams versus the SEC is more overblown with Alabama.
Okay, so you're I feel like you're discounting the SEC a little bit here. Just because Alabama's good, but you're saying Auburn's not good?
I don't think Auburn is as good as Clemson.
The bottom half of the ACC, there's two teams that went 1-7, right?
Yeah, but I'm not counting those.
Alabama's good, but I think that for you to say that the ACC is deep, I was going to take the exact opposite route. I think the ACC is very top heavy, and that's all they got. They got Clemson, Louisville, Florida State every other year, and the other side of the conference is a joke. I don't think Virginia Tech's done anything in a long time. Outside of that, UNC, Miami's been dirt.
UNC's all right. They've been in bowl games. Come on, man. They had the best pick in the NFL draft last year. Come on, don't discredit Trubinsky, guy. Don't discredit Trubinsky.
No, you just said that they were deeper than the SEC.
I think they're deeper as far as quality teams, and versus the ACE or the SEC. It's I'm talking about I'm talking more about what you hear about. You don't hear about Auburn. You don't hear about Mississippi State. You don't hear about Ole Miss. You hear more about the ACC. You hear more about your Louisville. You hear more about your Clemson. You hear more about your UNC.
You could tell me you hear more about Georgia Tech or Duke than you do Tennessee.
You never hear from Georgia Tech because Georgia Tech is most irrelevant team in the ACC.
You're making my point.
Not necessarily. Because when did anybody ever care about Georgia Tech?
Let's take the bottom half of the conference. We'll take the whole conference if you want, but let's just picture this: Duke, Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh, and
Pittsburgh's good.
We'll put Syracuse, Boston College, Wake Forest, NC State. You're going to tell me that that's deeper than the back half of the SEC, which is going to be South Carolina, Mizzou.
Mizzou's garbage.
A&M, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas.
Arkansas, yes. Ole Miss, yes. Mississippi State, yes.
Yes, as in what? Yes, they're better than the ACC?
No, they're not nearly as good as the ACC.
You don't think that Arkansas?
I look at it from this way. Here's what I'm looking at.
Duke,
top 10. Your top 10 teams from the ACC have done better than your top 10 teams from the SEC.
Okay, there's only 12 teams. So for you to say top 10.
Well, I'm saying this. Top 10 in the like whole league and whatever you want to call it.
So you're saying the top ends now. You're not before you when you came into this. You were saying that they're deeper. Now you're saying that it's only the top end teams, right?
Whatever. Take whatever the hell you want from it.
All right, Garb, we need you in here. What do you got for us?
All right. Well, I think of ACC, and half the time that I'm thinking about anybody in the ACC, I get blinded by basketball. When I think of ACC, I strictly think of like Duke, UNC, in the sense of basketball terms. I don't really give a lot of credit to them football-wise, but that's, like I said, I'm blinded by the basketball aspect of it. As for the SEC, you take out Alabama. I think they're a competitive conference, but Alabama is so stacked every year that you forget about some of those younger talents. Like Auburn, year in and year out, typically pretty good. I mean, obviously the back half, like Arkansas, Mizzou, Ole Miss, some of those, not so much. But I think, and I'm not sure, I guess I kind of missed the beginning of this. I thought we were going to relate this to like the Big Ten, where the Big Ten had the first team to make the playoff without ever making or reaching a conference championship. I think that speaks a lot to the ability of the Big Ten. I kind of discredit the Pac-10 over on the West, and the Mountain West has no skill whatsoever. But I don't know. I think every year it kind of depends who is going to match up with Alabama and who's going to get a lucky win on them towards the end of the season.
See,
but
if I'll just jump in here saying that if I was ranking the conferences, I don't think I'd have the ACC in my top three. And I'd put them behind the Big Ten and the SEC still. I might even put them against the
Big 12.
I might even put them against the or behind the Pac-12 even.
Yeah.
Because you look at the Pac-12, and they're like, what do you got? You got Washington, USC, Utah, Stanford. You still can't have. You'll still take Stanford over most ACC teams.
I think you could argue that the Big 12 is equivalent to the ACC.
If you want to talk about a top-heavy conference, I mean, they've got Oklahoma, and that's basically it right now. TCU's fallen off, and Texas hasn't been relevant since Vince Young left.
Oklahoma State went 10-3. West Virginia went 10-3. Kansas State went 9-4. That's just as good as the ACC on the top. Outside of Clemson, they didn't have. Yeah, I think you could argue that they're just as good. I think the ACC,
yeah, for sure.
I'm a middle-of-the-road conference, and I think the SEC kind of gets looked over because Alabama wins every year, so the rest of the teams get discredited. I don't think that helps their conference, but I think that you take the back half especially, or the top half. I mean, I think they're stronger than the ACC. I think the ACC has Clemson, who's continually good, Louisville, who's a mediocre team. I would say Florida State's good, and that's it for the Atlantic side of that conference. And then on the coastal side, Virginia Tech is all right. I mean, the only reason I even know Virginia Tech football is because of Vic, and then they just beat Ohio State at home when they did that whole that's the last big win I know them having.
And that was literally the first game when they got Urban Meyer.
But I mean, UNC's not very good. Miami hasn't been good in years, good to the point where they're prevalent in the playoff conversation at all. And the rest of that conference is just complete garbage. I mean, outside of you take Clemson away from that, you don't even talk ACC anything.
That's the only reason why Jimbo brought it up, because they're the most recent national champion.
Right, and I mean Florida State has been good, but I mean they'll be up there. But if you look at the Big Ten, I would say the Big Ten has an argument for the best.
I'd put the Big Ten at number one right now in terms of depth. It's the best coached conference in football.
Oh yeah,
and they've got like 4 teams that you can make a legit case to say that would win the national championship next year.
And I was looking at the.
Nick Saban is the king of college football. He gets claim to the throne.
Yeah, I was just doing a quick search here. CBS Sports has the Big Ten as number one, whereas Bleacher Report has the ACC at number one. I mean, they go the other ways. They're both 1 and 2. It just depends on which one you're reading.
If you look at the ACC against top 25 teams, Clemson went 6-0, and Florida State went 3-2, and the rest of the whole conference was negative. If you look at the Big Ten, they had 4 teams that were positive in that, in regards to against top 25 teams. But then I'm going to throw this at you, which is going to contradict our argument. If you're talking about Big Ten, in the bowls last year, the ACC went 9-3, and the Big Ten went 3-7.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's a good stat for them. That's a good stat.
It is. I mean, they did kind of manhandle Ohio State in the semifinals. I believe that was Clemson that beat Ohio State.
31-0.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But if you take the top 25, the ACC has, in the top 10, they have Clemson and Florida State. I mean, the Big Ten has Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, Michigan. In the Ohio State, they have the most of all the conferences in the top 10.
And at one point they had 4 teams in the top 10 last year.
They have 4 in the end right now.
Yeah, 4 in the end.
Are we looking at like over the last year, or are we looking at like last 15 years? Because I mean,
if we're taking
that's what I'm trying to figure out with this argument. Because I mean, obviously Miami used to be dominant way back when, but I mean, it just kind of depends which side of the fence you're going on.
Well, based on what Jimbo is saying, he's saying right now.
I think it means
right now.
You could go back like 2 years, but I think right now.
But either way you slice it, he's wrong about the ACC. I think he's way off about the ACC.
Well, I mean, in Florida State, I think, Mike, you're giving Florida State a little too much credit. I mean, I watch you're discrediting Louisville, and I don't like Louisville at all, even though I live here. But they still did beat Florida State like 69 to like 17. Like, it was ridiculous, really ridiculous score. I mean, yeah, people forget they were like a top 5 team up till their choke of losing to Houston and then Kentucky. But I mean, I'm not saying the ACC is like, but I mean, I think, with Florida State, I think everybody always gives Florida State too much credit, I think.
But I mean, just to argue that, I think Louisville went 9-4, Florida State went 10-3. If you look at against top 25 teams, Louisville went 1-2, Florida State went 3-2.
Well, I think Florida State had a better schedule. Louisville's strength schedule was subpar.
I mean, that right there shows that they were better than Louisville, but
I'm not saying, like, if you look from an overall perspective, yes, they are. But I'm saying if we're looking over the last year or two, I mean, I think it's pretty much even.
I think going forward here, I think Florida State's going to be better in the next couple of years, because I remember when Jameis Winston left, they had the #1 recruiting class for like 2 years, so those guys got to be getting up there. Not to mention, I think if I'm going to pick a school just based on recent history or history at all, I'm going to take Florida State over Louisville every day.
Yeah, I would too.
I mean, I agree. I think Jimbo Fisher, obviously, he's talking up his side and his team and everything, and that's fine. But if I had to rank the conferences, I would put the Big Ten probably along with like the SEC and the Pac-12 before I would do ACC or Big 12.
Yeah, I'd put Big Ten first, SEC second, probably. Yeah, Pac-12 third, and then probably the ACC fourth, and then Big 12 would be last out of the Power 5.
But is that all of our unbiased opinions? Like, I mean, you might get a different vibe from a Virginia Tech fan if they had their own podcast.
I'm sure you would. But
yeah. Anyone's going to have some sort of bias where they live. But I'm just saying, you look at. We've talked about this already, but just they've got a deeper conference. I mean, the SEC has bigger names,
right?
But Big 10 does just as well.
I think the ACC on the back half is garbage, dude. I mean, realistically, be honest with me. NC State, Wake Forest, Syracuse. Did you even know they had a football program? Let's be real.
I know they made a movie
over all those guys.
They made a movie about some guy from Syracuse.
Pittsburgh, I don't think you'd know about even as much if Badger coaches just come from there. And
You can call
and
them first.
they've had a couple decent draft picks, but I don't think they're ever like good at football. Georgia Tech, Virginia, and Duke. I mean that is awful. Their back eight is awful, and that's saying Miami, North Carolina, and Virginia Tech are in their top six. I mean, like look at. Let's go to the Big, or even the Big 12.
Did you say anything about Boston College?
Yeah, I put them on the back half because they went 2-6, 7-9.
I could name 2 players from Boston College. Surprisingly, Matt Ryan, B.J. Raji. That's it.
We're not talking like over.
I was just saying that as a side point. That's all I was fucking doing, guys. God.
Yeah. Well, then.
Jeez, you're just trying to name drop people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think.
I wasn't crediting Boston College for shit of being a bunch of nerds.
Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, Nebraska. I don't think so, but you're gonna get your bias wherever you go. It's college football. It's like anything could happen. And LSU came to Lambeau last year and got whooped by the Badgers, and they were number 5 overall.
Yeah.
And that was totally out of nowhere. They had Leonard Fournette and everything. So I mean, is what it is.
All right.
If you don't mind me taking a transition here real quick, just because we're talking about ACC ball in Louisville, kind of moving into the NFL season. Does Teddy Bridgewater start this season, or do they let Bradford take over and see where we go from there?
I'm not even sure if Bridgewater will ever play again. At least
and that's everything I keep seeing here is there's a lot of that question: will he ever play again, or will he have to sit out a year? I mean, I don't think I'm kind of going against what I just said there. I don't think he'll play this season, but I think he still has something left in him. He's got to try. I mean, who knows if that leads to nothing? But
is he ready?
I don't think is.
Well, I saw that he's been like working out, and I mean, he looks better, but I mean, there's a difference in working out and being NFL ready from a torn
So, but
ACL.
he's like cleared to play right now.
No,
No, he's not.
No, it won't. Not for at least until after this year, from what I've seen.
That's what I thought, or midway through the season. So I think you don't have a choice but to let him.
And they don't trade for Bradford if they didn't expect him to be out more than a full year.
And personally, I'd put Bradford in anyways before Bridgewater.
Some teams going to give Bridgewater a shot anyway, but I think he's already played his last game in a Vikings uniform.
Yeah,
and that became pretty clear when they didn't pick up his option.
Did someone just say Robert Griffin?
I did. I said I think it's like the same thing. Like,
oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Done.
Okay.
Well, what makes his so much worse is the fact that it was a non-contact, and there's no video on it, at least none that I've seen. But from the sounds of it,
was just a training. There was a walkthrough practice that he tore all that on.
Yeah, so. I heard a lot from the sports radio because I was still living in Minnesota when that was happening, and those people lost their fucking minds. Like, I mean, that's exactly what they said. It was a walkthrough. Really, I mean, I think I heard from one. I guess they said that one player even thought like he was joking around, just flopping on the ground, but clearly not. But and I think getting Bradford, they want to play. They want to play now. Bridgewater, I mean, you got to develop. Bradford obviously is a journeyman, and he's seen the ropes. He can catch an offense pretty quick. So I mean, obviously they want to play now kind of guy, and I mean Bridgewater, I don't think is that.
Who knows? If Minnesota gets anywhere this year in the division anyway, it's going to be on their defense.
Yep.
So we can all agree on that there. So, all right. Today was I think today was the last day for the franchise tag guys to sign on for a long-term deal. So the biggest names, obviously, with that were Kirk Cousins and Le'Veon Bell. Not sure about I think the corner for the Rams was on there too. But see, if you're the Skins, do you give Cousins a long-term deal after this year?
I don't know. That's a hard question. I mean, I actually I think I probably would. Not overly, not Derek Carr money.
No,
No
not
way.
even close
No,
to
obviously, but if
I'd give him like maybe Brock Osweiler money. A little less.
I'd do that for sure, because you know what you got with Cousins. He's shown he might not take you to a Super Bowl, but you can win games with him.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Here's the thing: like he's not Aaron Rodgers, obviously, but if you look at the other half, like quarterbacks that of the top 10 quarterbacks, can you name 10 that are better than him? Maybe, but he's right on that cusp there where you have to pay him because there's not enough out there that's better than him at that position, even if he's not that good.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
might be like a 6 overall, but like 90% of the NFL is like 4s. So
yeah, like how many times has this conversation happened where it's like, you know, you don't want to pay him that much money, right? But I mean, what are you left with?
exactly.
You're only as good as your options, right? So you got to pay him.
Yeah.
If they could tag him again next year, but I'm reading here they'd have to pay him $34 million if they tagged him for a third straight year. So it'd be cheaper giving him a long-term deal.
And I think he's done enough to get at least a somewhat decent contract. Like you said, where else are they going to go? It's not like going to pick up someone at free agency, and you're doubtful you're going to find someone out of the draft who's going to give you better numbers. He's not going to be your franchise player, but I mean, he's already proven that he can get you to the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, you got to build around him, but I mean, you can't. We as Packer fans got extremely lucky to follow up Favre. So there's no way that any other team is going to just, oh yeah, boom, we found someone that's perfect. They got someone who's above average, and you got to appreciate that. And you got to do something to keep them. You just got to build the team around that now to help him out.
You know, I was just looking at his stats. He's actually he finished the season the third most passing yards. He was actually Aaron Rodgers was fourth. He was only beat out by Drew Brees and Matt Ryan. And QBR, he finished up 7th. So I mean, those are two big stats. And 7th, like I said, he's not Aaron Rodgers in the top or Matt Ryan or Tom Brady, but he's getting the job done and he's doing well at it. So I think he definitely pay him.
I'll say now, if he puts up like similar numbers next year, especially after losing Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon this offseason, if he puts up anywhere close, you got to give him a new deal because now his best receiver is Terrell Pryor.
Well, and that's
not counting Jordan Reed, of course, but
that's the thing too. I mean, you just rattle off like those guys, like with Rodgers, Brees, and those guys. I mean, you got to think of who Cousins has. You know, on the receiving core, I mean, you could say Deshaun Jackson's, he's a good receiver, and Pierre Garçon's a good receiver, but he's not like a top of the league guy. Like, I mean, Jordan Reed, I think, is a top 3 tight end, but I mean,
if he stays healthy.
If he stays healthy, exactly my point. But it's like one of those things. I mean, you look at the numbers he put up, and I mean, you think of like right, like you said it. Terrell Pryor is his guy now. Like if he can throw up similar numbers to last year, and with just like a Terrell Pryor and Jordan Reed, there's no reason why they wouldn't pay him at least a decent chunk of change, with a 4 or 5 year deal. I mean, then they screwed up with RG3, so I mean, obviously they need, Cousins has been that guy that has been dependable, for them, and he's turned guys that weren't real relevant, even in what's that guy, Robert Kelly. I mean, he was kind of in his tossing running back last year. So I mean, it's not saying much if he has a similar year last year. Yeah, he'll get paid pretty well.
How many years he's been starting for now? Is this going to be his 4th season?
I think so.
3rd or 4th.
I'm not completely sure.
4th, maybe 4, maybe 5 even. I feel like he's like 27. I feel like he's been out of Michigan State for a while.
I'm trying to remember back. I can't remember what year that they ended up putting him in after Griffin. But either way, like I said, I think he's done enough to earn the money. ultimately we'll see what this season offers. I think even if he does an average season, I still think you got to pay him, especially based on that one factor alone. Who does he really have around him here, and what does he do with that lack of ability?
Right.
All right, and then I'll throw the other name out there that's didn't get a long-term deal, but you think you got to give Le'Veon Bell a long-term deal, right?
Yeah. I don't even know why it's a question. Honestly.
Yeah, I think I'm with
I think
Nate.
it's just like a silly. I think it's a silly move for the Steelers. I don't know why they're just dicking around, just not paying. I mean,
It could be like it just fits them not paying him well this year because they have to pay Antonio Brown or whatever. Like,
yeah, they did.
Well,
they just paid Antonio Brown. Yeah,
I'm sure they'll pay him. Like, this is a non-issue, non-question.
Yeah, I think that's the main reason there is you're paying big money out to Roethlisberger. You're paying big money out to Brown. Can you afford to pay that out to Bell and still be able to have enough room to fill in the spaces after that? I think that's the main reason there is just so that they have some space.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I want to go back. I'm going to list off some of these quarterbacks real quick. See if you would rather have their starting quarterback or Kirk Cousins.
Cool. It's kind of like a game.
Yes,
just tell me to stop.
games.
Just tell me to stop if you think this quarterback's better. So, Ryan Fitzpatrick,
No.
Brock Osweiler,
No. Hell no.
Case Keenum,
No.
Hell no.
Blake Bortles,
Hell no.
Joe Flacco.
He's clutch.
I'd take Flacco.
I
would take
would.
Flacco.
I don't think I would over Cousins.
I think that's a draw, personally.
Yeah, I do too.
I'd
go either way.
I'd take Flacco, but it's close.
What about this? Eli Manning.
I'd take Manning.
Yes.
God, I hate him.
I don't like him either, but I would take him over Cousins.
Keep in mind that Kirk Cousins just outthrew him in passing yards and QBR, and he has Odell Beckham. Throwing that out there. And their other receiver, Shepard?
Cruz, you mean?
Well, and it was
Cruz, but Cruz ain't the guy anymore. Yeah, Shepard's. And he was a rookie last year.
Would you really take Eli Manning over him today, right now?
Well, not today, yeah. If he was like
why do you think
that's the question is right now.
Okay, we're going right now. We'll go Cousins, okay?
Yeah.
Drop it.
Eli.
I'd still take Eli.
Yeah, no way. Both those rings are based on his defense.
Jameis Winston.
Yes.
Yes.
You take Jameis Winston over Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
For this season, not for a franchise, for this season.
I'm taking Cousins based on experience.
Winston has only gotten better. That's why I'm taking Winston.
But this is only one season I'm talking about.
I know, but Winston's going to have even a better year this year. So, yes, I will take Winston.
I mean, the stats would just Kirk Cousins destroys him and everything, but
we're talking about this upcoming year, right?
We're talking about this
year.
So last year,
you told me this year, and now you're yelling at me about
it's very
I made it clear it's this year. I would take
Jameis
That's fine.
Doubles his stats and is phenomenal, and Kirk Cousins shits the bed. But you guys live in that fantasy world, so
I got some for you.
I'm taking
prepared.
I'm taking experience. I'm taking Cousins.
I'm with you. And I mean, there's Tyrod Taylor, Colin Kaepernick, Alex Smith, Andy Dalton.
You don't even need to say the name.
Matt Stafford, I would almost put as a draw. Probably take.
I would probably too.
I'd take Stafford over Cousins.
Ryan Tannehill.
No.
Yes, I'd take Tannehill.
There was some.
That's a draw, I think. Tannehill got better at the end of last year before.
You guys give Tannehill way too much credit.
Well, I'll give you this. Tannehill had about a nine better percentage in QBR than fucking Jameis Winston. So, but you guys want Jameis Winston? Oh, he's so good.
If we're talking about this,
he'll steal you some crab legs.
I'm not taking Tannehill. You're talking about next year. You're talking 1 year. I'm not taking Tannehill.
Yeah, dude, you don't go from like an 80 to a 105 QBR in a year.
Wasn't Tannehill okay? Also, if you want to talk about how many games did Tannehill was he out last year?
I don't know. I didn't know.
Because of course his QBR is better because he doesn't have as much stats.
All right, next guy.
No, now I want to see how many games he played.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was like
No, he
week,
played 13.
week 16 or 17 that he hurt his knee.
But he didn't play a full 16 games, so yeah, his QBR is gonna be better.
So he missed a half.
I don't know. It doesn't say, but I purposely skipped some at the way bottom. Cam Newton is the bottom of QBR, but I think you'd rather have Cam Newton, obviously, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I
it's
skipped
gonna be
Carson
honest.
Wentz because I didn't want Nate to go on a tangent. I
Good
skipped
idea.
Phillip Rivers, who is at the back half of 20th overall for QBR, or whatever you think that's worth, because QBR is a weird stat. I just figured you guys would rather have Phillip Rivers. And then you get to quarterbacks where, I mean, it's really debatable. My opinion, Marcus Mariota, Andrew Luck, Derek Carr. I mean, I'd have Derek Carr over him, but Andrew Luck, Kirk Cousins are pretty much a draw. I'd probably take Andrew Luck.
No.
Dude, all he does is throw a picks. Let's compare stats then. Andrew Luck
All right.
versus Cousins.
I would rather take Cousins over Luck.
Oh, I thought Nate was gonna go Colin
No.
Cowherd on us and be on the luck train.
No, that's fine. Then I thought you were going the other way too.
I'm not a Luck guy. He either throws interceptions or touchdowns. There's no in between.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Colts are going to keep going downhill. They lost our player to retirement
Yeah,
this
and they're
season.
until their owner keeps being drunk all the time and having drugs in his car. He's taking the team down with him.
But, yeah. All right, that was pretty much it, except for like the top 5 quarterbacks. What about this? Actually, what about this? This season alone, do you want Kirk Cousins or Dak Prescott?
Cousins.
I want Kirk.
Jeez.
I think I'd want Kirk Cousins because he can throw the ball. I mean, you didn't really see Dak Prescott throw the ball that much. And when he did, he had Des Bryant, Jason Witten.
Honestly, the only thing I have.
Sorry, go ahead, Garb.
No, I was just saying, going on last year's stats, it's hard for me to give an opinion on Dak because of the way Zeke played. I don't know. It's hard to tell if he's good or not because of the way Zeke played so well. They had to fill the box. So, yeah, Dak had good stats.
Exactly.
But you take away that amazing play by Zeke, how good is he really to stand in the pressure when the defense has to play pass?
And when they're throwing it anyways, outside of the box being stacked, they got a line that's best in the league.
Oh, God, that front five is amazing.
Whether you like him or not, Des Bryant on the outside. Like, I mean,
Dak was in a perfect
but Cowboys
Dak was set to succeed.
Cowboys have shit receivers besides Des Bryant, so that's why I'll take Cousins.
I think Jason Witten's a stand-up.
I think Cole Beasley's a good little fucker.
Yeah,
Sneaky.
Cole Beasley too.
I know what you're getting at. I mean, I just genetically.
When Dak or not Dak,
Dallas.
I just fucking hate Dallas.
Yeah, it's easy to be like, oh, they're trash, but really.
Once again, we talk about bias. We all fucking hate Dallas, and we know it.
But that's why I'm saying, in regards to Dak, he did what he should have with what was around him. Great line, great receivers, great running back.
Agreed.
So, and I'm not saying that he's not good. It's just hard for me to give an opinion because I don't really know what it's like when he needs to be put in that position to either make or break.
Well, and how many games was Dez out last year?
We don't know off the top of our head.
I feel like it was 4 or 5.
You talking last year or 5 years ago?
I was talking last year. I've been sticking with last year, guy. That was 4 or 5 at least.
Dude, I'm so excited for the season to start. This is like a nice preview.
Yeah, now that free agency's died down and like it's the middle of baseball, so who wants to talk about that until the playoffs roll around? Just football. Football. I mean, Sundays are for football, right? Right, guys?
Yeah, you know what?
Saturdays are for the boys. Sundays are for football.
Yeah.
And the boys.
Right. So, you got another list for us, Mike, or no?
Hey, you got our stats?
I do have a stat for you. A quick
from
question.
Google.
Just a quick question. Who do you think led the league in touchdowns regular season receiving?
Last year, wasn't it Jordy?
I thought it was Devontae Adams.
Nate? Talking
do
about
some
last
keyboard
year, not
clicks.
5 years ago.
All right. I was going to give you last year.
All right. Well, we got a
Fun
podcast
time
to do.
today.
I don't freaking know.
You can't
You
name.
guys already said you said Jordy already. You said Adams. I mean, you were talking. I'm guessing we're around the subject of Dallas. We're gonna say Cole Beasley.
It was Jordy Nelson, 14.
Yeah. Yeah, because Rodgers led the league in touchdowns by quarterbacks.
But Devontae Adams did finish second, tied for second with Antonio Brown and Mike Evans.
Okay, because I knew Adams had a lot, but yeah, Nelson.
Yeah.
Comeback Player of the Year, ESPY Award. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Shout out to Peyton Manning. He did a hell of a job with the ESPYs. I actually did watch it. I absolutely love that Durant roast.
Oh my
I
God!
absolutely loved it. And no, Mooney, that was not a setup. So fuck you.
Of course, it was a setup. You don't think Durant was in on the joke?
Well, Durant's a piece of shit in my mind, so I don't really care.
I don't think he was happy about it either way. I think everyone knows he went there for an easy ship, and that's all it'll ever be.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're not going back to this conversation.
I think that's all it'll ever be. Like, everyone knows it.
Durant knows it too. That's why he was playing along.
See, what I didn't like about the ESPYs was everybody comes. It's like a red carpet event. Gets all dressed up, and what does Westbrook show up in? Fucking
And
jogging
Durant.
pants.
And Durant.
Okay, he had a T-shirt at least. Westbrook showed up in a tank top and jogging pants.
I think
I don't know
Durant
what that
had jogging
is.
pants too.
Yeah, how many championships does Durant have?
Yo, can
What are
you
you putting
see
up
that?
to your phone?
I can't read it.
Is it the Penguins logo?
Oh,
It's Kevin Durant, a Penguins tee, and it says "My next chapter, Kevin Durant" signature.
Players.
Because that's all he is.
A winner.
play for the winner because, hey, if you can't beat them, join them, right?
I guess.
And then win it for them.
Well,
Yep.
I think.
Yep. No.
He also has a great supporting cast. So.
Yeah, to the point where anyone could have, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about his mom, right?
You
Yeah.
could have put Sam
Yep.
Cassell on that team, and would have been the same story.
Well, of course, because Sam Cassell back there.
You could have put Harrison Barnes on that team and they would have lost. Or they would have won. Oh, wait. They didn't win.
Oh, that was really low. That was a low blow.
Hey. That's what happened, man. All right. So unless you guys have anything else to bring up, might have to go to our last minute segment here.
If you don't mind me taking the floor real quick.
Oh, yeah. We need our WWE update, right?
Yes. So part of the reason why I was not on last weekend is because you guys wanted to cast in the middle of the event, which was Great Balls of Fire. So obviously, if you remember what I said at the beginning of the show, I did get the notifications. I do apologize for not responding. But last weekend, 9 matches. Some of them pretty good, some of them not so well. We had an ambulance match. Pretty much the goal of the ambulance match is to
Kill somebody.
beat the shit out of someone and put them in the back of an ambulance. Well, didn't quite happen. Roman Reigns lost because he attempted a spear on Braun Strowman, and Braun moved. So Roman pretty much jumped into the back of the ambulance. But the follow-up after that was what was really cool. So Roman came out of the ambulance, beat the shit out of him some more, threw him in the back, drove the ambulance to the back of the arena, and then crashed into a back of the semi-trailer. Dallas EMS had to come and rescue him. It was kind of really glorified. That part wasn't so much cool, but the fact that they crashed the ambulance was pretty exciting to watch. The main event, very uneventful, between Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe. Solid 6.5 minute match. As we all know, the Beast Incarnate won. Then there was an Iron Man match for the tag team titles between the Hardy Boys and Cesaro and Sheamus. Cesaro and Sheamus came out with a pretty early lead, getting the first fall. Hardy Boys fought back, but within the last few seconds, Cesaro snuck a last-minute pin to win the Iron Man match 4-3. All in all, though, it was a pretty cool pay-per-view. It was the first time that they did the Balls of Fire promo.
Balls of Fire.
Yes.
Meaning
but this coming Sunday, not that ball. But this coming Sunday, we got Battleground. 2 big matches I'm looking forward to. We have a flag match between John Cena and Rusev, and then we have a Punjabi prison match between Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton. Now, this is only going to be the 3rd Punjabi prison match in the history of WWE. Pretty much what the goal of this is you're in the middle of the ring, and you have to scale 2 separate, I don't want to call them cages, but it's like there's two like fences outside of the ring, and you got to scale both of them to win. So we'll see how that goes. And then we have a 5-way elimination match to see the #1 contender for the women's championship, which will then take place at SummerSlam. But all in all, Great Balls of Fire was a pretty good pay-per-view. A lot of the endings were predictable, but exciting up to that point. But like I said, this coming Sunday, the flag match and the Punjabi prison match, I think are going to be pretty cool to watch.
All right, there you go. Our WWE update of the week.
Oh.
All right. So that about does it for our main topics. Time to move on to our last minute, a few good minutes segment. So who wants to go first? Who's got something they've seen since the last time they were on?
I'd just like to see if there's any updates on Nate's computer search, if anyone's out there. We're still looking for a computer.
Seriously? I fixed the problem. I deleted a bunch of programs, and we've been setting sail ever since then. Deleted a few programs. Hey, I'm doing all right tonight. My computer's fine. So
I'll use my 2 minutes. I don't remember all the teams that were in this, but it was like a college sports rating of all of like college sports. You kind of combine it all into one. That school is this good, and the Badgers pulled out 4th, which I think is really accurate if you think about every sport. Look at football; they're almost always in the top 25. Hockey, they're decent. Women's hockey, they usually rule the roost. Volleyball, they're good. Men's basketball, they're always good. I mean, they might not be #1 in everything, but they're at least top 25, and that's a lot more than you could say for other schools. Look at Ohio State; they haven't been good in basketball in a couple years here now. It's just like these big powerhouse schools like Alabama. I know they have a good football program, and that's about all I know.
Basketball sucks.
So it was pretty cool that the Badgers are 4th. I think USC was 2nd or 3rd, but yeah, 4th is good for all sports in B1 college sports. That's pretty cool.
Just for my curiosity, who was #1?
Like I said, I don't remember. I'll try to look it up while you guys are talking. I don't remember. I know USC was 3rd, but I'll look it up.
No, I think that, like you're saying, I think that shows a lot for our school here, because a lot of people, I think, take location into account depending on their sport. Like, do I want to go up to Wisconsin and play? Do I want to spend a winter up there? Do I want to go to another school that has more favorable weather? I know that that's not what a lot of people are looking at, but when you get multiple scholarships, I mean, you got to take that into account a little bit. And I think showing that we're in the top 5 out of the entire country, it shows that we have the competitiveness to play all around and not just dominate one sport like Alabama does. So that's kind of cool to hear.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. See if I can find the teams.
I guess I'll go quick while Mike's looking up. Going to talk about the home run derby. Now, I don't like the new format. I don't like how they have it bracket style. I understand why they do it, but I don't like it. I have no problem with the way the rules and everything goes, but I think it should just be top players move on. So here we had 8 guys. Instead of having this person go, winner of that match moves on, I think you have all 8 go, top 4 move on. Because there was a lot of people we lost in that first round that I think would have made a bigger impact later on. I can't remember who Aaron Judge beat, but when you have when you have 2 guys hitting over 20 and they're playing each other, it's like, well, God, that'd have been a cool second matchup if we could have had Sanu then keep going. I wish we'd go back to the old setup, because I think that's what it used to be, right? Where it was Just you go in
basically just 2 rounds, I think.
Yeah.
They might have had 3 rounds, so the top 2 ended up facing off against each other, but by then they're dead tired. So
yeah, I don't know. I just don't care for the bracket style. I think that you got Judge and Sanu going up against each other. I think that Sanu deserved to move on, but he went up against the man-child that is Aaron Judge, which the way he played, he deserved to win. It was exciting to see him hit the ball the way he did. I mean, cranking, what was it, a 513-foot home run? My God. That's exciting to watch, especially when you're a fan there. But that's just kind of my little thing on that is I wish they'd get rid of the bracket style.
I found it, and CBS Sports did best in college sports. And like I said, it's all sports. It's got like cross country on here and stuff that you don't think about, soccer. And number 1 was Florida State. Number 2, which they're good in baseball and obviously basketball and football, but
basketball recently.
2 was Florida. 3 was USC. 4 was Wisconsin. 5 was West Virginia. 6 was South Carolina. 7 was Louisville. 8 was Stanford. 9 was Michigan. 10 was Ohio State. But I mean, to be in the top 5, number 4 overall for all sports, that's pretty cool.
All right, I guess I'll go next. This is our little bit of NBA talk. One, I would like to see the Rockets actually trade for Melo. It wouldn't be enough to. I don't think it would be enough to beat Golden State, but it would make for an entertaining game, at least an entertaining series if they happen to meet up, and just to see Melo get out of New York, I think would be best for everybody. And then I'm praying, please, Milwaukee Bucks, do not sign Derrick Rose.
Thank you.
I second that.
Don't think they need him. And if they have to get rid of guys to make up for what I'm sure he wants for his contract, it's not worth it. If it's like a 1-year like minimum deal, like fine, whatever. But
and
other than that, I don't want him.
He like you say what he wants, which I'm sure he probably does want to want, but like, who wants him?
That's the thing. That the Bucks are one of the few teams that have actually been
talked to him.
him.
That's all I've heard. But, I mean, I could see him going to like the Suns or something where, just to be there, but like a contender.
Yeah, they don't want him.
Nobody wants him. He's a liability. A waste of money.
We're gonna have the worst pair of knees coming out of Simeon High School between him and Jabari.
Right. That'd be the only thing. It would sort of make more sense if the Bucks like weren't doing as well and they weren't putting fans in the seats, so they get people coming up from Chicago. But just after being at a playoff game last year and seeing that environment, I don't think attendance is going down anytime soon.
No,
it'll be all in for next year. So I know I'd stay away from them. And I'd also like to mention real quick, have you guys seen the video that went around Twitter the other day of Skip Bayless debating himself about Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers, that was awesome.
I saw that this morning.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
That was good.
That was
good.
So
anything Skip Bayless is always interesting.
Sure.
If anyone hasn't seen it yet, I'll retweet the video or post the video or something on our Twitter account tonight.
Okay.
All right, so Nate, what do you got?
All right, so I took in the John Deere Classic over the weekend. Shout out to Bryson DeChambeau for getting the W. I really, really freaking hate the hat you wear to tournaments. This is not the 1940s anymore. You can't wear shit like that anymore. Stricker kind of came out of nowhere. He finished 5th, our Wisconsin guy. So he's always been dominant at the John Deere Classic. I think he's won it 3 years in a row, 2 or 3 years ago. But, it's a lot of good golf, real easy course to walk. Definitely would recommend it to anyone, to go check it out. It's not like the Waste Management in Phoenix where it's the drunkest golf tournament on the PGA Tour. But, it's definitely a lot of fun. Quad Cities aren't too bad of a city to party in. So, good time.
right. So unless anyone else has anything to talk about,
I got one last thing. Just kind of going off of what you're talking about with the Bucks and playoffs and not losing seats in the stadium and all that kind of stuff. Happy to hear that Giannis is actually sticking by his word and wanting to stay in Milwaukee. There was a few reports saying that he may start looking to go elsewhere, maybe starting to shop around. I mean, it may all be just words out of Giannis right now to keep himself saving face, but as a Bucks fan right now, I'm happy to hear that he's staying loyal and wants to stay in Milwaukee because I think he's a huge, huge part of our success in the future. I think we have to keep him by all costs and keep him happy and build around him because, I mean, you don't just lead your team in every major stat
and
for no reason.
Put up stats that have never been done before.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's a potential. He's going to be an MVP candidate in the next few years. So we got to do it. But all this talk, it doesn't really matter anyway because his 4-year extension just kicks in like this year. So
Well, yeah. It's still
really
nice to
not
hear that he's.
It's definitely nice to hear. But
Well, yeah, I mean, I
the
think
reports and stuff, it's not even worth talking about until at least 3 years from now.
But I think it does matter a little bit because extension or not, you always have those people that just don't want to be there anymore sometimes, and then that affects how they are and everything. So, if he's unhappy there, you might have to get rid of him, whether he's good or not. Also, I'm going to just quickly bring this up before we go.
Do it.
I don't know. I just on and off with the Twitter feed reading on this. I don't know how accurate it actually is. But I believe, from what I've been seeing, LeVar Ball, they came out with all those shoes for Lonzo and everything, right?
Yep.
And he's not wearing them?
Yep. He's wearing Kobe's. He's wearing Jordans.
And Kirk.
Because we know this just confirms it. It's just his shoes were just a play to try to get the bigger brands to buy in, right? Because that's the end game.
I don't get it.
That's always been the end game for them, right? Now that he's putting up numbers, at least it's summer league, but he's still putting up numbers, and he's now the talk of basketball right now. It's just a matter of time until someone puts in an offer.
Yeah, it's not going to be what LeVar wants. We all know that. And
but
I
if
know,
he's not wearing his shoes aren't worth anything.
Right. If he's wearing other shoes, it just shows that he doesn't even stand by his brand.
Right. And
they must not be selling then, you think, right?
Poorly made and they're going to tear apart when you're out there in one game, or what's going on here?
Maybe they're having manufacturing issues. Maybe $495 shoes, maybe they're no better than those Starberry Stephen Barry's used to sell.
At least other people wear their shoes, or even J.J. Watt's not even a basketball player, and you see him in his shoes all the time. Why would I buy these Lonzo Ball shoes that he don't even wear? Why the fuck am I wearing them then?
Yeah. If I want to be like Lonzo and LeVar, you ain't a big baller unless you're a big baller. By the way, I know Garb is our WWE correspondent, but when LeVar was on WWE a couple weeks ago, took his shirt off, I was totally expecting him to be a fat fucking piece of shit. I was surprised on how somewhat cut he was. And I think
he wasn't cut.
Cut's not the right word. But I said keyword. I said somewhat.
He was rolling with an above average dad bod. Is the way I would put it.
That's probably a better way to put it. But I think he would be perfect for WWE. I know you would hate it. I would hate it. But I think, from a entertainment role, I hate him. I don't like the Ball family at all. But, Vince McMahon's all about ratings.
He would be a great promoter because he knows how to talk. He knows how to cut a promo. Obviously, the guy wouldn't be able to partake in the fighting aspect of it, but the guy is good on the mic. I mean, he was there there was a 6-minute segment, which his kid LaMelo fucked up by throwing in a racial slur. But, I mean, for him going out there with probably very little practice of whatever was going on, I mean, I was cool with it.
Yeah, see, I mean, it's one of those things, too. I think if, here's a thought. what if his precious shoes don't sell to the NBA player? What if he starts making shoes for the WWE? What do you think?
Okay, oh, I mean, the only guy that I am aware that really wears shoes is John Cena. A lot of them wear boots and stuff like that. But now we're getting into a land of make believe and unknown.
Land of Shark Tank shit.
Yeah.
And shout out to Mooney because I think his computer took a shit. So
my camera went out. I don't know why.
Speaking of Mark Cuban, I came across an article talking about how he was the reason that they didn't draft Giannis.
I heard about that. I saw that too. Now he's kicking himself in the ass for that one. Way to go, Mark. Stick with Shark Tank. Go find your IT businesses and make a shit ton of money.
Just go back to being a billionaire, dude.
But
go ahead to being an asshole on the sidelines too. Like, I've never seen a bigger asshole of an owner than Cuban on the sidelines. Like, just a freaking jackass.
I don't know. I got no problem against him, but that's
it's just like, I expect you're an owner of an NBA franchise. Don't be wearing T-shirts and shit like this to a freaking NBA game. Dress the part. If you're a freaking billionaire, dress like it. For Christ's sake.
If you're a billionaire, you can dress however the hell you want.
Well, just don't look like a fucking bum. That's all I got.
All right. Well, I think we got enough for today. I mean, Mike's already crawled into bed. So
yeah, we got to leave it there.
You're making the podcast look bad. That you're sleeping on the job, man. This is a full-time job. You got to take the shit seriously.
All right, so make sure to follow us on Twitter. You guys know where to find us by now.
At GarbDisDaddy03.
Links are all in the description, and then let us know if you want us to talk about anything, all that stuff. Watch out for next week's podcast. See you guys.
This was sponsored by Sun.